a subject, what topic that I heard you like in your explanation saying like us as a people are deaf, blind, and dumb. How can we, as younger people, and focusing on the younger generation coming up and people our age in particular, how can we change that narrative and what can we do to help our people in our main area to kind of see a better like that we're not just people, we have more to offer than to be just told what to do all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do we change that narrative and kind of wake more people up around us, like the average Joe, somebody that doesn't particularly have that knowledge, like that doesn't read every day, and how can the average Joe kind of help push that narrative as well?
Yes, sir. Well, what your question reminds me of a scripture that says, how can they know unless they have a teacher? And how can they have a teacher unless he be sent? They'll never know unless somebody comes to teach them and talk to them. And nobody will ever come to teach and talk to them unless somebody is willing to go and sit down with them. Many of our young people don't have a strong black male influence in their life. Mom does the best job that she can, but it really takes, brothers like you, like myself, others who have some knowledge of who we really are as a people, have to be willing to take some time and make some sacrifice to sit down with the young brothers and sisters and help them to understand that they are not what this world tells them they are. This world will have the young people to believe that the only thing that you can do is be an entertainer. Run and jump and dance and sing and make somebody laugh and make them clap, and you think that that's your only value in life. So our young people growing up learning the newest dances, learning how to play this sport and that sport, and that's fine, it has its place, but that has become the only avenue of success for us as a people in the main picture. You have a few of us who understand, but most of us don't know that we come from a line of rulers and kings, that we are the originators of science, of technology and engineering and mathematics, and that all of these great sciences that include every science of civilization started with your and my fathers. They need to know that these Greeks and these Europeans who will espouse themselves as the authors of civility to the world, they need to know that they got it from us. And if they know that at an early age, they'll hold their head high. They'll feel good about wanting to be a great scientist. They'll feel good about wanting to express themselves with intelligence, and to know that to be intelligent doesn't mean you acting white. Because that becomes something in our community where the young brother is using a powerful vocabulary and a strong vernacular. They say, "Oh, you acting white."
Exactly.
And so we need to know that to be intelligent, to be strong, to be militant, to be industrious, that's not to be white, that's to be yourself. To try to be righteous and try to treat people right and to try to build something for yourself and your family and your people, there's nothing wrong with that. That's trying to be yourself. We have to first learn about ourselves, and then when we know about ourselves, then we have at least the opportunity to try to be there. And so, to work with the young people and to be willing to sacrifice time to go and talk to them is the key. We are never going to do better unless we know better. And the reality is that there's a few of us who do know, but knowing is only half the battle, as they say. When you know, now what are you going to do with what you know? We have to begin to understand that knowledge comes with a responsibility. As Jesus said in the scripture, to whom much is given, much is required. Okay, I can brag about how much I know about the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. I can brag about knowing the diameter of the sun, 853,000 miles in diameter. The weight of the planet is 6 septillion tons. I can know about how much of the land and the water is on the earth, 196,940,000 square miles. And I can dazzle people with knowledge, but what am I going to do with it now? Am I just going to sit on it and say, oh man, look what I know? Or am I going to go and try to share it with somebody so that they can grow and become the individual that they're supposed to be? So we got a lot of people nowadays that know and that are deep, but how many are willing to go out now and talk to the people that don't know? You know what I mean? As long as I have something and you don't have it, I really can't say that I'm a brother to you. I really can't say that I'm your friend. That's why we taught a good Muslim is not a good Muslim until they want for their brother what they want for themselves. And all Muslim means is a righteous person. So you can't say you're a righteous person or you're a good person and you see your brother starving and you eating. And I'm like, oh man, you hungry, dog? Oh man, yeah, this fire. I see you hungry though. Right. Our people are hungry for knowledge, man. They thirsting for righteousness. And the young people are too. They want to know a better way. They want to know their purpose in life. They want to do more than what they see on TV, but somebody got to be willing to talk to them. You know, we have a lot of older people who know things, but are not necessarily willing to go and sit down and break it down to the young brother and sister. We want to condemn them. Oh, look at their pants down. Oh man, they look at them out here smoking. Look at them doing what they do. Yeah, you can condemn them all day long, but the question is, how did they get like that? And if they got like that through a process, they also can come out of that through a process. And if you don't make yourself a part of the answer to change it, then you also are a part of the problem. So if you want to sit back, and if I want to sit back and say, oh man, they lost, look at them, you know, but I'm not willing to take an hour out of my day to sit down with the young brothers and sisters and feed them that which they are longing for, then you know, really we're not going to ever make a change. So really, the answer is very simple. We have to make some time and sacrifice to deal with them, and deal with them in a loving manner. You know, it's not going to be a wave of a wand. It's not going to be a snap of a finger. It's not going to be one song or just one event. You know, but we have to take the event, the song, the moments, and take that momentum and roll it into a continuing process of sitting and talking and re-educating our young people. But we have to be willing to make the sacrifice. You know, if you really want something, then you are willing to sacrifice for it. You know, we taught that desire feeds the will. If I desire something real bad, I can tell how much you desire by what you're willing to do for it. You tell me you want something, but you're not willing to do anything for it. I know how much you want it. Very little.
But not at all.
Or not at all. So we can have people say, oh, I want to see a change. I want to see the young people do better. I want to hear, okay, well, what are you willing to do?
You have to be the change you see.
Exactly. And so if you say, well, I want it, but I'm not willing to do anything. I'm just going to look out for me. I'm going to take care of me. I'm going to do me. Then, okay, we understand. But when we really desire, and I think it is more and more of us who really do desire to see something happen, well, let's sit down together and let's be willing to go talk to the young brothers and sisters. They're willing to listen. We have to come with the right approach because they're not just going to sit up and listen to anything nowadays. You know, they want to hear straight talk. The young people, they're not trying to hear a bunch of fluffy pie in the sky and whatnot. They want to know what's real. And you got to be quick because that attention span ain't long. You got to be able to hit them fast, and you have to let them know that you care about them. You know, as they say, nobody cares what you know till they know that you care. You know, and so we have to come in the right spirit. We have to come from the right angle. But they're not hopeless. You know, that's why we believe in that God came, because at one point I may have been considered hopeless. At one point you or so many of our people may have been considered hopeless. But this teaching turns that hopeless condition around. So they may be hopeless to others, but we got the right solution. We just got to be willing to go and give it to them.
So Man, and I'm just sitting here in amazement because it's all very true, and I'm hoping that people can grasp that concept from seeing this interview and actually be willing to push that narrative forward.
Yes, sir.
And just in closing, my last question to you, what I ask everybody: what is your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment. Well,
And this can be outside of anything. It can be as a father. It can be back way something that happened to you a long time ago as a child, or in today's world.
yes, sir. Well, my greatest accomplishment, I have to do it in two sections. Because on one hand, my greatest accomplishment may have just taken place a few days ago, and helping to bring the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to Grand Rapids, and allowing for the people in Grand Rapids to get a chance to see him in person and to hear directly from him divine guidance and warning. So that's one. But I would say my other greatest accomplishment is being a vessel through which God produced my son. My son, who's just a year and a month now, is something that you will see in the near future, maybe, after you find your wife.
Yeah, working on it.
The joy and the beauty of holding a life that's you, going on into a distant time that you may not live to see. The minister says that when we have children, that's us. That's our lifeline being extended. And to be able to look at my son who was just born the other day, it feels like walking now, trying to talk now, and just, having the chance to look at him, and the blessing that, God gave me through my wife to have a son or any children. That's a great accomplishment. That is really something that you can hardly even describe until you experience it yourself. But I would say that in his life is right up there with the greatest accomplishments in my life. And I could probably list a few more, but I've already been long-winded. So I just put a pin in it right there. Yes, sir.
So, just right before we close out completely, do you have any upcoming events or anything that you would like to announce, or anything? This is your platform, just to get everything that you need to get out. So.
Yes, sir. Well, in a few weeks, we will have the Holy Day of Atonement, which is the anniversary of the Million Man March that takes place every year. And for those who don't know what the Million Man March is, that is the event that took place in 1995, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called for 1 million black men to come to the Washington Mall for atonement, reconciliation, and repentance for our failure to be the kind of men that we ought to be for our women, for our children, for our community. And so the minister called for 1 million men to come in 1995, and because he had the courage to make the call, God blessed the minister to not only have 1 million men come, but nearly 2 million black men showed up to the Washington Mall in 1995, and there was not one fight, not one arrest, no drugs or alcohol, no women out there, no typical nonsense out there. It was just peace and love, and those who were there said it was like a day of heaven on earth, and so that was the largest gathering in the history of America, the largest and the most peaceful. Although we don't hear too much about it in Black History Month, that is arguably one of the greatest moments in history, period, but definitely in our history here in America. That day stands out in history. But every year since that time, we have what is called a Day of Atonement, where we atone, ask forgiveness of ourselves with God, ask forgiveness for any wrongs that we may have done to our family, to our community, It's a time where we try to heal the wounds between each other because we do so much, wrong to each other. We offend each other, and black people are real good at holding grudges, and wounds exist within family and among people that we never heal. But the Day of Atonement is meant to be a day set aside for that, recognizing our responsibility to set things right. The first thing we got to set right is ourselves and our relationship with our Creator. And so it's a Day of Atonement that is not just celebrated by Muslims, but by Christians, by Jews, by people of no religion at all, for human beings who understand that, we got to get things right with God, get things right with our family. And so every year around the first or second week of October, we have that event. And this year is going to be the 24th anniversary of the Million Man March. And it is going to be an event that we have here in Grand Rapids on October 13th. And we are still finalizing the location for that. So that location will be announced in the very near future. But it is going to be on Sunday, October the 13th. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be speaking live from Chicago's Christ Universal Temple in Chicago. And it will be a program that will begin at 2 p.m. on that Sunday. But we will locally be here showing the live webcast where we encourage the community to come out and get a chance to view the minister live and in person and enjoy just fellowship, where we will likely have food and refreshments and vending and things of that nature to try to make it a day where we have some atonement in our community as well. So that'll be in a couple of weeks. And, but here locally at this building, the study group building, we have our meetings every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. We have our Wednesday and Friday night study groups that are focused on self-improvement, because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that it's self-improvement that is the basis for community development. We oftentimes want to try to develop the community, but are unwilling to try to take a look in the mirror and work on ourselves. And so like Michael Jackson said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror, and I'm asking him to change his way. Because if you want to make the world a better place, first you got to look in the mirror and make a change, and be the change that you want to see. And so on Wednesday and Friday nights, we get a chance for an hour and a half to just come in and talk and study on this teaching in a way where we can not look at what they doing wrong, but what somebody else is doing wrong. Get self right. And then on Sunday, we have just our general lecture. But other than that, we don't have any major events coming up besides Holy Day of Atonement. But we want everybody to really take a minute to reflect on the minister's words that he gave on Tuesday. It was not an average address. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan started off that address saying, I came here, quote, to announce that the end has come. And when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says a thing, history shows, and this is something that can be researched without end, that when he speaks, God answers right behind him. He says, watch the weather, and you'll see a tornado pop up over here, a hurricane pop up over there, an earthquake over there, a snowstorm come. And this is something that maybe we can include as a part of the interview that shows the accuracy and the verified, repetitious evidence of what I'm saying. And he said that something is going to happen in Grand Rapids to show those who killed our brother, Robert D. Muhammad, that God has not forgotten. And when he says a thing like that, we can take it or let it alone. But history shows that something's going to happen after the minister says it, not because he's making it happen, but because he represents a God who has power over the forces of nature. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that that's how God fights. We fight with fists and guns and whatnot. Not we as members of the Nation of Islam. We don't carry any weapons, but that's the way we human beings fight on that level. But God fights with the forces of nature. You can't fight against the hurricane. You can't fight against the tornado. You can't shoot up the earthquake. Trump wanted to know, President Trump, pardon me, he asked, can we bomb the hurricane? No, you can't bomb the hurricane. You can try, but that hurricane gonna hit you, man. Yeah, I mean, you ain't gonna stop it. So, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that God is fighting this government on behalf of us because God's desire is that this people let us go. As it was in the time of Egypt and Moses with Jehovah. Jehovah commissioned Moses and Aaron to go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. Because they had been crushed under Pharaoh and his people as wicked taskmasters, and God's desire was to separate his people from them and bless them with a promised land of their own. Well, we are taught that didn't happen back then 4,000 years ago. What's written there in the Bible is a prophecy of what would take place in the end. And we are people in bondage under a wicked taskmaster. And Moses and Aaron were signs of two men in our modern time, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who both have said to this government and this people, let my people go. And every time in the Bible where Pharaoh would mock and say, oh, whatever, the calamities would get worse and worse and worse. And if you look at America right now, just a couple of weeks ago, there were 6 hurricanes forming in the Caribbean in different parts around America, and they said that they were forming like cockroaches. You know, at the same time. So, we're looking at it right now, you know, and when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says, watch the weather, or he lets us know that God is about to act, God is doing it to send a message to the government and send a message to us that he's not playing with us, and that his desire is that we be separated and be given the land and territory of our own. And that's not hate, that's just common sense. 2 people can't get along, they're married, at a certain point, they separate. They divorce as 2 equals. For over 460 years, we've been in this land, and, you know, have we gotten any justice to this day? You know, have we had any fair treatment to this day? You know, his desire is that we be separated. And so, this is the time where God is acting quick behind the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's words. He says a thing, and before you can even turn around, something's taking place. So I just wanted to say that, I want everyone to review the minister's words and consider them. Just consider. Think it over. And if it's something that makes sense, I encourage everyone to try to do their best to act on the guidance that the minister's giving. Because he's not just giving doomsday preaching that it's about to be bad. He's offering a way into God's favor for all of us. He's trying to show us there's a better way for us. And we can avert some of this calamity that's coming down, but it's not, you know, on our terms. We got to be willing to try to get ourselves together.
Thank you. And again, man, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yes,
I appreciate everything that you've done for us, and everything that you've done for the show, and everything that you've done in the community. It doesn't go unnoticed. I just want you to know that there's people watching, definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man. I appreciate the opportunity, you know, and whenever you know, need an interview or just want to talk, or, you know, I'm always here, you know, as you could hear, I got a lot to say.
No. Oh, no, definitely. And what the people don't know is we used to have these talks without a camera.
That's
growing
right.
up.
That's right.
And Western and Kalamazoo, we would sit up all night and just talk. So
that's right. So this is normal. This is natural.
Right. Definitely. But again, I appreciate everything, and just thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate the opportunity, and I know that this show is going to be a great thing. You know, you've always had a mind and talent to be able to touch others, and you know, I think this is just going to amplify who you already are and get a chance to put it before the world. You know, and so whatever I can do, you know, just to help with this, I know this is going to be big. It's going to be major. It's going to, you know, really it's gonna shake some things up. You know what I mean? But I'm glad you're doing this, and I pray the best for you and the show. And if it's anything that I can do, or anything that we can do, just let me know. We got you.
Really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Everybody, Sultan Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good evening.